Many years ago, in an ordinary house in an ordinary British town, a most extraordinary love affair was being conducted. A young man, we'll call him George, had become obsessed with another family member. From a strict religious background, George was racked with shame and guilt. His passionate trysts took place in the dead of night. The location, his dad's garage. For George's lover was the family car, an Austin Metro. George then could claim to be the world's first metrosexual. But he was so worried about his fetish that he attended therapy, and a paper was published on what appeared to be a unique phenomenon. So, what could make a man want to have sex with a car? Was George the Metro lover a one-off? Or are there others out there with this most peculiar of sexual peculiarities? It's easy to find people who believe that cars are sexy. At their best, they're seductive and sensual. We give cars human characteristics, gender, sometimes even names. Many truly are beautiful. But for all the car lovers out there, finding George, the Metro lover, proved to be impossible. We contacted hundreds of sexual therapists, but nothing came of it. Buried in the internet, however, is a small community of men who describe themselves as mechaphiles. One of them lives in the UK, but he was willing to communicate by email only and politely declined to be filmed. Eventually, another member of the online community living in America agreed to meet us. For over 40 years, he had kept his lifestyle a secret, but he now felt that the time was right to explain it to the world. So we headed to Yelm, a small town in the northwestern state of Washington, to meet our first mechaphile. His name, Edward Smith.
You made it! Whoa. This is Vanilla. She's a 74 Standard Beetle. And I named her Vanilla because it's kind of a sexy, sensuous name, and she's white.
Edward has never had an intimate relationship with another human, but he's lived with Vanilla since 1982.
Almost every inch of her body, there's a certain sense of beauty. Everything about her is very sensuous to me. And I enjoy holding her, I enjoy being part of her, and like this little area here, she's got like a certain curve to it that really is perfect. I'll be doing this, and it's almost impossible, to resist her. And I get carried away, I must admit, but she's my lover, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Edward's obsession with cars began during childhood. Always a fantasist, the boy who loved making home movies included them in his stories.
I guess I can go back to when I was just a kid. There was an innocent affection right there from the beginning. It got stronger through the years, and by the time I turned 13, the famous Corvette Stingray of '63 came out, and that car, oh my God, it was pure sex. and just an incredible machine. And that, I think, happened right at the time when my sexual energies were just developing as a teenager. And it seemed to ignite that into a whole different realm of appreciation for the design of cars and how I felt towards them. It wasn't until maybe a couple of years later that I got so excited looking at them that I would actually incorporate that visual and that fantasy into my masturbation. Vanilla Beetle of 74, your creamy body I adore. Flesh and metal, overwhelm, man and car become one. When you're parked in my yard where my sun sets, freed from the light of day and dark, I leave my loving seed.
As we were to find out, Vanilla wasn't the only recipient of Edward's loving seed, and he didn't restrict himself to cars. For Edward told us that he had also made love to a helicopter. And not just any helicopter, but Airwolf.
Well, you got cute cheeks. Look at that.
We were with Edward Smith, a mechaphile living with his lover, Vanilla, a 1973 Volkswagen Beetle. Edward told us that he wasn't only attracted to cars. He found planes and even helicopters sexually alluring. One of his most intriguing claims was that he had made love to Airwolf, star of the 1980s TV series.
May 20th, 1986. At the time, it was like a dream. I was pretty much left alone to my own accord, and I just set my tripod up and took a picture of me kissing Airwolf because I figured, oh, why not? That's what I'm there, is to pay tribute to her and love on her. And I just couldn't hold back. I felt at the time that that was part of my visit, and I got away with it. It's over with, it's done, I did it. And I'd be careful about doing that again. I got a bit of common sense left in me, but I just get carried away. I love them.
So did Airwolf have any orifices that you could sort of stimulate yourself?
No, it's just the form and curve. She's got a sleek, sensuous tail that almost looks like a dolphin. Of course, in 1991, she crash landed, killing all aboard, but she was in the midst of a rescue. She destroyed. But I was so glad to meet her. Yeah.
TV shows and films where the star is a machine seem to help Edward to justify his eccentric tastes.
I think to myself that maybe I'm a little off the wall, but then I see movies like Herbie, but also like Knight Rider, where the car is a character and there's a person who's having a relationship with a car.
For nearly 40 years, this was the only reassurance Edward had that he wasn't alone in the world.
Yeah.
But then in 2001, he connected to the internet.
The longest time I thought to myself, I don't need a computer. But then I started asking listening to my heart and soul, thinking, there's got to be people out there. I know this is a big network, and I thought, there must be some out there that feel like I do. And sure enough, I found it.
Edward discovered a small community of like minds, with whom he exchanges pictures and stories.
How many do you think there are out there in the world?
Well, we're really rare. There's about 12 of us, and if you were to pick the top four, I'd be one of them.
In the world?
In the world. I had some contributors. Some of these pictures are linked to others into the same thing, including the guy from Missouri, Jordan, and his beautiful little Volkswagen.
Jordan is only 20, and unlike Edward, just beginning to explore mechaphilia. Edward put in a good word, and Jordan agreed to meet us. So we visited him at home in the Midwest town of Springfield, Missouri. As with Edward, Jordan's first love is a Volkswagen Beetle.
Bug's name is Ingo, 67 Beetle. I've had him for since I was 16, so that's been almost 5 years now. It's my favorite car of all freaking time. I mean, I've always wanted a Bug, since I was a little kid, 6, 'cause my dad always had them. I've spent so much of my time and money working on them and, modifying things and just, getting looking as good as possible. I have chopped down the seats, I've tinted the windows, I've redone the sound system, I've recarpeted. Pretty much everything on that car has been changed in some way or another.
Jordan only recently moved away from home. Like Edward, he's a keen musician, although with somewhat different taste in music.
That one's called Brand New Bat. The whole song is about somebody who buys a baseball bat and they're very proud of it. And they use it for things like protection. In order to have more time to work on my own music projects and stuff, I work 2 days a week now. I make just enough money to pay my bills so that I can have 5 days a week just to do this stuff. I work at Walmart and I work in the dairy section and I stock milk.
Jordan had been keeping his mechaphilia to himself, but the decision to be filmed forced him to come clean to his parents, and he recently confessed to his housemate, Jarrett.
I had been thinking about it a lot and stuff, and I was like, I wonder how he'll respond to it and stuff, and I was just like, I shouldn't just beat around the bush, so I was just like, Jarrett, by the way, it isn't a joke. I just absolutely want to fuck my car.
I was really shocked at first because I was like, no way, he's just shitting, bullshitting with me. But when he told me, this is a legit thing, I was like, that's really weird, but that's okay, sure. Just don't let me know about it.
The only things I find attractive pretty much in the sexual fashion or any fashion really is just cars and trucks and planes and things like that all the same.
Why are you just not into girls at all?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's, just pretty much, how can I word it? And I'm not gay.
I know that.
But you play the damn game. I don't know. As far as women goes, I don't know. Just they've never really interested me much.
And so, would you describe it as a fetish?
It depends on the person, really. I guess fetish would sort of more lean towards it's just sort of on the side. Whereas with me, I don't even care for women at all, so it's more like a sexuality.
Jordan and Edward had never met.
So I got stuff to put away, including my toothbrush.
So we suggested that they did.
I pack light.
They were isolated, and we felt that both would gain from meeting another mechaphile.
Packing fairly light because I know that we're going to be down there for the one-day event on the 9th, a Sunday, and I've seen it online, and it's breathtaking.
Because they lived 2,000 miles apart, we chose a giant car show and swap meet in Pomona, near Los Angeles, as the location.
This would be the first time that I'll head to one of the world's largest swap meets and meet all kinds of cars, and another individual who online has expressed every bit of passion that I feel towards his car and other cars.
Edward seemed more excited by the prospect of meeting the cars than meeting Jordan.
I'm hoping maybe I'll have a chance to, have a nice session, maybe, I hope, with a couple of cars, other than vanilla. And by that, I just mean an understanding and compassionate, respectful, loving relationship with a car, or two, or three. Let's see. My key's out. Oh, Vanilla, you ready to go? Huh? What'd you say? Good. I love you. Oh, God. Here we go.
Both Edward and Jordan's journeys would be challenging in old Beetles. Edward was heading down the west coast, through Washington, Oregon, and the length of California.
Yeah, I have never driven this far in my life. This is the longest journey I've ever made in a car of any kind, and it's phenomenal. It feels adventurous.
Jordan planned to drive the old Route 66 through Texas, New Mexico, and Nevada. He'd been working hard to prepare his Beetle, Ingo, for the journey.
I got new engine in, I got everything bolted up, whatever, it was all ready to go. I fired it up and it's like, yay, and it ran. And then it just started dumping oil all over the place, and I'm pretty sure it's the, I couldn't see it, but it was coming from about where the oil cooler is. So I'm bringing this. Trans Am. His name is Todd. It's a good car too.
Jordan seemed disappointed at having to take his Trans Am. Too young to appreciate the real star of Knight Rider, he was nonetheless keen to meet Edward.
I'm anxious to meet the guy. Yeah, I'm just guessing, but he seems to be, very outspoken about everything,
Yeah, look at this guy, look at this.
He seems to sort of flaunt, his car obsessions and things,
Wow. That is really sexy.
He's been with a lot, he knows a lot and things like that, so I'm sure at this point he's very used to the idea, He's more comfortable with it than I even am,
Look at those tailpipes. It's a part of the body, but it represents the car's anus in more ways than one, and it's just like having anal sex with a car. The final ecstasy is just about when you're ready to explode with love, you just place it in there, maybe grease it up a little with some lubricant. It's fantastic. The sensation is unbelievable.
Jordan traced his mechaphilia back to the gradual association of cars with sex, in the absence of anything else to arouse him.
My dad used to have a Volkswagen he had out front. And a lot of times when my friends weren't around, I'd hang out by that car. And just like the sort of little face the car had, the fact that I liked it anyway, I just talked to it some, Once I got into my teenage years, since I'd already hit puberty and I was already having these sexual urges anyways, it just dove towards the only thing I had that kind of a passion for, which was cars and the like. So, my incredible, just natural attraction to cars, plus that, could have very well been the main switch that clicked and it just came together.
As the journey with Edward progressed, the terrain became more remote.
There are moments way out in the middle of nowhere where you'll see a little car parked, and I swear to God, it just needs loving. To me, it's just an extended form of masturbation. of having an orgasm with something that you find beautiful.
Our overnight stop was a motel made of converted railway carriages. We had noticed Edward eyeing up our hire car along the way, but now something else took his fancy.
I think it's lonely. How you doing? You lonesome out here? Where's your owner? We didn't know she'd be here, right? There must be an owner around somewhere. Not bad. Not bad at all. Time to go Betty bye.
Is your sex life mainly masturbation?
A lot of it, yeah. I mean, yeah, there, you know, between my cars, you know, yeah, I have had sex with them, but
How can you do that?
well, there's pretty much any way you can really find. I mean, the attraction alone is halfway there. Any sort of sexual interaction is sex, you know. Some people just like to, you know, rub themselves or whatever, like within the creases of the car or something, or just hug it or sort of make out with it and stuff. There's some people who just flat out like to fuck their car in the tailpipe, you know, which that works. I mean, hell, I've heard of people that have weird fetishes with all kinds of things. Some people probably like to have sex with toasters, you know. I'm not sure how you would do that, but some people probably do.
Edward was an early riser,
She's gonna go for his girlfriend.
unaware that we were also up. He grabbed the opportunity to get intimate with our car.
Hey, good morning, Vanilla. How you doing, kiddo? I slept great last night. I'm sure she did. Gave her a little loving before going to bed.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she liked that. I'm just getting some of the smudges, love smudges off of her.
Some of the loving seed.
God, yes. She loves it all over her, that's for sure.
You've left her hair. Can you see?
That's probably from my head.
I was wondering about our car, because you seem to be
There's-
growing in fondness, really.
This one has a nice form in the face, and the more I look at it, the more I appreciate its sensuality. Yeah, growing fonder all the time of the shape and form and masculinity of the face and the sheer roundness, everything, yeah.
Edward had grown used to seizing opportunities for sex. We had our backs turned for just minutes filming these shots. But when we returned to our car, we found this shot. We were surprised by his audacity, but there was much more to come. We were about halfway into our man-car love odyssey. Jordan had cast his cares away to drive his battered Kit lookalike, Todd, to California. The trouble was, he'd forgotten to tell his employers at Walmart in Springfield, 900 miles away.
They're already going to be pissed off because I forgot about the time zone change. So it's 12 o'clock here and I have to be at work at 1, but back home it actually is already past 1. Yeah, this is Jordan in Derry. Okay, but yeah, I'm sorry I did it so late. I'm not gonna be able to come into work today, and also I'm in the middle of New Mexico, and I may not be able to come back to Springfield for a couple weeks. Well, we headed down here. Me and a couple of guys headed down here, and I was planning. We left like on a Sunday. We were planning on being back, but a bunch of shit went down, and then the car broke, and just horse shit. So I really have no clue. Pretty much guessing that I don't have a job anymore. But I was wondering if there's anything we could work out to where I could still be able to work there when I got back. Inconclusive, because he said just to call him back when I get back in town.
We thought we were beginning to get an idea of what cars turned Edward on. But then he surprised us when something caught his eye.
That's so beautiful.
It was a 1919 Ford Model T.
This is always kind of, this look, his face here. You know, you can't help but identify it as a face, right? I mean, her big eyes and grill, but it's just, yeah, it's an old lady that's in good shape. 1919.
Does it do anything for you?
It does. I like the car's subtle curvature and the something about that wheel well and how it's placed and the rag top. It just gives it a certain kind of elegance.
But surely it wouldn't feel right actually to sort of, get too involved with this car because it's like an old lady, really.
It is, yeah.
So, I mean, if you got the opportunity, would you sort of back off?
I wouldn't back off, no. I would be honored. It's a sexy little car in its own way. It really is.
Edward surprised us again by revealing that he had in fact had sex with a woman. It was in San Francisco in the early 70s.
3 people that I met here, I stayed at their place, and I indeed had a woman that liked me, and the other 2 guys were gay, and they were off in the other room doing their thing, and I was with her.
So you did actually have a sexual experience with a woman?
I sure did. But it didn't linger in my mind as, wow, that was a hot, date. My mind seems to just want to shift to other subjects, and so, like that. Look at that car. I'd lick it. I'd come all over it.
But what's wrong with people?
Oh, I don't know. Nothing's wrong with people. It's just my preference. I don't think I have a pushing, pressing desire to share my life and love with another human being.
Jordan had never had a sexual experience with a woman.
There's nothing about the female physique that I find sexually attractive, and so it just never clicked for me. I genuinely love all of my cars. I mean, actually, it's more of just like a general love and just like care for my cars more than a sexual thing, actually. Like, I'm sexually attracted to them, yes, but like I said, it's kind of like as if my car is like my girlfriend or something. Just kind of sucks, because for a fact none of those cars are going to run again. I mean, there's graveyards like this all over the place, especially there's further into California, there's aircraft graveyards and everything else. People just need a place to take their cars or whatever, and then they just forget about them.
Jordan did seem to be missing his Beetle.
Seeing this bug, does it make you miss Ingo?
It does make me miss Ingo, but
I don't know. I'm not really going to tie the two together because this one's just done. I do miss Ingo though. I wish I could have brought Ingo on the trip, but if I brought Ingo on the trip, it might have ended up like this. Let's get out of here.
Do you ever wish that you hadn't been made this way?
No, I have no regrets. I'm thankful for everything that comes into my life, and I know what's in my heart, and I have no desire to change. I have no quest to raise children. I never wanted to really get married.
And you express such love for these cars, but they can't express it back to you.
I can feel an energy coming from her that I guess I imagine is a sense of appreciation.
So you do acknowledge that the love that you feel from the cars is in your imagination?
Yeah, I want to make sure that people know that the power of imagination can be just as real as anything. It's a sense of imagination that creates the life in the vehicle.
Edward's fantasies helped him survive a solitary life. But as things stood, Jordan had an active social life. So would he be prepared to let that go as his friends moved on?
It doesn't really worry me. It doesn't really make me sad. I mean, it's just, life goes on. I see them every once in a while. And, but once again, it doesn't make me feel like I want to be part of that sort of thing, I don't feel like settling down and doing my thing, I just, I guess just not that big of a deal. Like everything else.
Although he was missing his Beetle, Ingo, Jordan's affection for Todd was growing as the trip progressed.
We bonded a lot, actually. It's been probably the best trip of my life because I don't get to do things like this very often. And sharing it with Todd, like I've only had him for a couple of months, but it's really helped. Even just the driving such distance and spending so much time together and so much interaction just works out really well. I do develop a pretty emotional bond with my cars, I don't even know what I'd do if I ended up wrecking them or losing them or something. I don't even know how I'd handle it.
How can you form an emotional bond with something that has no soul?
I don't even know how it works, man. How do you form a bond with really anything? Just... I don't even know how that works, really. It's just... I have no freaking answer for that, really.
Oh, vanilla.
Edward, of course, wore his love for vanilla on his sleeve. But as we neared Los Angeles, an event occurred that seemed to bring Jordan even closer to Todd.
We've broken down. Our $60,000 car has broken down. We've got no transmission.
While Todd, the $400 beater, has not.
That's broken gears, isn't it? That's broken gears right there.
So we had to drive the rest of the way in Todd, the 22-year-old Trans Am. All 260,000 miles of him.
just been an extreme joy just to drive on this trip. It almost feels like he just wants to get there, you know, almost like the car wants to be here as much as I do.
In the end, a combination of circumstance and our bad planning meant that it was past midnight when the two finally met.
Oh, we're there. Oh my God. Hey, it's good to meet you. Mr. Eames. Vanilla.
How you doing? She's not bad.
After the long, eventful drive, we decided to retire early.
Rumble, honey.
But Edward seemed keen to get to know Todd. After all, he looked like Kit, one of his all-time fantasy cars.
Animal.
And sure enough, in the middle of the night, something stirred in the motel car park. It was Todd's turn to receive Edward's loving seed. It remained to be seen how Jordan would feel about it. The next day, Jordan and Edward were, in their words, giving their cars a bath.
Squirt it. Squirt it all over her.
Well, it's definitely lightened me up a little bit, you know. Like I said, after doing nothing but talking and thinking about my love for cars and stuff for the past week, it's given me a chance to focus on it, you know. I don't feel so awkward about it anymore, you know. Especially, I mean, you know, about talking to people about it and all that.
It's sometimes hard to express that kind of feeling.
When we get back home, Todd and I are gonna fuck like rabbits, but...
We express love in different ways. I'm more of a romantic. I write poetry about cars. I sing with them and play with them and talk to them and just like a girlfriend, yeah.
You're more sort of, you're more physically
Oh, I guess I am. Well, I'm a Scorpio, so, you know, it has a lot to do with it.
Edward was clearly not in the mood to confess where some of Todd's more recent stains had come from.
It just feels good to know you're caring for your automobile and showing it some respect.
Well, treat others as you'd like to be treated.
I just realized there's security cameras around here.
It was the morning of the big event, the Pomona Swap Meet. Jordan and Edward were getting on okay, but Edward hadn't yet confessed to masturbating on Jordan's car.
Oh, honey.
Dude, I love this place.
Yeah, because
There was an orange Porsche over there that somebody's like race modified. I don't know what year it is, but my God.
male or female?
I think male, but I don't know. You can't touch it. He's over there wiping it down.
He won't let you touch his car.
Well, I didn't ask him, but I'm not even going to ask him.
With cars as far as the eye could see, it quickly became apparent that the two mechaphiles were more interested in them
Beautiful.
than they were in each other.
Because it's not a bad car.
A lot of these cars I would rape like a wild animal. Like, I like them and I like to look at them, but, you know, it's just unlike Edward, I'm not so prone to fondle them up and touch them because they're not mine.
Jordan's car love seemed more like a female kind of sexuality, once you cut through the bravado.
I mean, of course, if somebody just like gave me this car and was just like, you know, you have it for 8 hours, do whatever you want. Yeah, I would take it home and rape it silly.
How would you actually do that?
A lot of times whenever I get cars, you know, like especially like with Todd and stuff, when I first get them, I'm not as inclined to fuck them actually.
And then once I get to know them, I learn specific things about them that I like. And given some time to get to know it better, I would find specific things that just turn me on about it.
Edward, on the other hand, could barely keep himself in his trousers. It was like watching a cross between a teenage boy and a dirty old man. We felt that we should tell Edward that we saw him masturbating on Jordan's car.
We saw you last night, Todd.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? You did?
But you don't seem to mind that, don't you?
No, not anymore. I'm not near as frightened as I was about that, but I still try to be respectful.
In reality, Edward found it hard to control himself. He was becoming increasingly brazen in his sexual displays. That night, he took it to a whole new level. Knowing that we had seen him with Todd only seemed to encourage him further. The next day, as we prepared to say goodbye, Edward explained to us why he wanted to make this film.
I'm well aware that people will go into this thinking, wow, what a freak. They might laugh at you, they might even think you're sick or something, but what would you like them to feel by the end of it?
That I appreciate beauty and that I go a little bit beyond appreciating the beauty of a car, only to the point of what I feel is an expression of love, and that I'm not sick and not out to hurt anyone, myself or anyone else. It's something that grew a part of me when I was a kid, and I couldn't shake it, and I don't fully understand it myself, except that I know I'm not hurting anyone, and I don't intend to.
Despite his differences with Edward, Jordan enjoyed their time together.
I've had fun talking to him. It is kind of one of those things. It's brought out a little bit in you know the sexual aspect. I mean, like we were hanging out with the cars, and he always touches them and he kisses them, and does all kinds of things. He gets really sexual with the cars just sitting in the parking lot. And upon watching that, I mean, it just kind of gets me a little bit riled up too.
Seeing him, are you totally comfortable with that as a future for yourself?
Oh yeah. A couple years back, I pretty much established that I didn't want to get married, I didn't want to have kids, I didn't want any of that, I'm pretty much built around being by myself. I don't feel like I need more in my life, or I'm not going to feel bad if I don't make any more progressions. And if I'm a 57-year-old, living on my own and wanking over my cars, like I said, it works for me now, it'll work for me then. As far as people just watching this, I just want to make it more comfortable for other people with similar strangenesses in their love life and their sexuality. Just maybe they'll feel a little bit more comfortable, going with the flow with this kind of thing.
The time had come for an end shot.
Wow, can't believe it. Here we are at the Pacific Ocean at the end of a wonderful, interesting journey of car passion.
Oh, well, I've gained a lot from this trip. I'm as in love with Todd as I am with Ingo at this point, which is pretty strong, I guess, considering I've had Ingo for like 4 or 5 years.
I want to kiss him right now.
Go for it.
I'm gonna have to go buy real soon here.
You whore.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it wasn't only Jordan who had fallen in love with Todd.
I mean, I see you again. Oh, Todd, thanks for the fun.
He's a good car.
And thank you.
Did you actually jizz on my car?